I have a bit of a hot take in today's video, and it's about why I wish Tesla would bring back single-motor, long-range vehicles pretty much across the lineup, alright? I know the Model X never really had a single-motor variant, but at the same time, I think a single-motor, long-range variant of the Model 3 and the Model Y and the Model S are very important for our future, and I know what a lot of you are probably thinking, right? Because Tesla used to sell long-range vehicles with only one motor, but at the end of the day, the battery is the most expensive part of an EV, right? And when you have lower priced vehicles with the same size battery packs as the dual motor variants, then that means the profit margin on that very expensive battery pack are a lot thinner, and that's more than likely why Tesla got rid of the single motor long range Model 3, because so many people were buying it. It was an extremely popular variant that Tesla had a thinner profit margin on that trim. But to me, what it comes down to ultimately is energy efficiency, and that's why I'm going to make the claim here that Tesla should offer both a dual motor and single motor long range variant, even if the price is not that much lower, okay? I don't think that you necessarily have to make two motors versus one motor okay, this one clearly has to be more expensive and this one has to be way cheaper. I'm saying I think a lot of people would opt for these models even if they were close to the same price as their dual motor counterparts. I know a lot of people out there that are interested in electric vehicles and want to get the best absolute range possible, even if doing a few things in the car or leaving out certain parts of the vehicle results in getting 10 to 20 miles of more range. They will take that if it means that they don't have to worry about degradation as much, and range impacts a lot of people's daily driving a lot more than sheer performance. And I know in more winter climates, traction control, where all-wheel drive has its purpose, and I'm by no means saying that dual motors are bad or that you are wrong for choosing a dual motor. I get it. There's all kinds of great benefits involved, especially in places where you want that dual motor traction control, but acting like this needs to be a standard for everybody in the future is a bit silly to me. I always got very annoyed when we were talking about standard range Model Ys and people saying, oh, we don't need standard range Model Ys. Oh, we don't need that. We don't need sub 300 mile range Teslas, because you should honestly just be opting for the $10,000 more expensive variant. To me, it's a very selfish, narrow-minded viewpoint to act like, oh, well, I think this is better, and because I think this is a better deal, we shouldn't have options for anybody else. There are many people who don't drive that many road trips, and if their daily driving habits are 30 to 50 miles, standard range variant is going to be okay. And similar to that diversity in the lineup, I also think there's a lot of people who really don't give much of a crap about performance, or even give that much of a crap about traction control, and would rather spend their hard-earned money knowing that they're getting the best possible range and there's no additional motor in there that's not honestly going to be utilized that often. Originally, when Tesla still sold the single motor long-range Model 3, it went 15 miles further than the dual motor variant, and in today's day and age with updated battery chemistry, I imagine it could be more like 20 miles further if they brought it back today, and the dual motor variant is clocking in around 353 miles. So imagine for a second if for that same price, okay, I'm not even saying you have to discount it, I'm saying charge the same amount of money, it's just a matter of, do you want to prioritize range or do you want to have a faster car with better traction control? Yeah, a lot of people will still choose dual motor, but there are some people out there that just want to know what the range is on day one and know that they have the best possible range they can get because that matters to them the most in an EV. And if they knew that they could get a 370 mile variant for the same price, but okay, the 0 to 60 times aren't going to be as good, I imagine there would be a pretty large demographic of people that would settle for that. Same thing with the Model Y. Tesla got as far as taking reservations from people for the long-range rear-wheel drive Model Y, and there's a lot of you commenting on my videos every single day saying, where is it? When is Tesla gonna make it? Because even though the dual motor variant has been around for a long time and the price of it has gone down, it would only be $2,000 extra for those reservation holders to get a dual motor Model Y with range better than what was originally promised to them when the single motor long range Model Y was unveiled, and yet they don't want to switch to reservation because they know that if they hold on to it, there's just a glimmer of hope. It's not even likely right now, but there's a glimmer of hope they could get a range better than 326 on launch day. And initially, when Tesla unveiled the Model Y, the difference between all-wheel drive and single motor long range was 20 miles. Imagine if you could buy a Model Y for $49,000 and now it goes 340 or 350 miles on a charge. But okay, the 0 to 60 time isn't as great, traction control isn't suspension is awesome. Still, at the end of the day, I think for many people, range is going to always triumph over acceleration, and I'm not even necessarily agreeing that there needs to be a giant price gap between these two. In fact, if anything, I'm pitching a more profitable vehicle for Tesla, because in today's video, I'm talking about what if we just kept charging the same price for a non-dual motor variant? That would mean a whole less motor, a whole lot less wiring and infrastructure Tesla would have to put into each vehicle, but they could keep charging the same price. Yeah, of course, if you want to keep bragging about acceleration and how fast your cars are, yeah, keep the performance models around. I'm not saying do anything with those. If anything, you know, bring ludicrous mode to the Model 3 and Y if you can. I'm all for having faster variants, but I feel like there's a noticeably missing opportunity here to let people spend long-range dual motor prices on vehicles that don't have the dual motor, because I do believe there's a lot of people out there that would change out that extra motor for 10 to 20 miles of extra range, even if they weren't saving more money that way. And can you imagine for a second how cool it would be if they brought the 4680 cells to market, right? And we're all really, really excited to see the Plaid Plus Model S, because apparently the range is going to be over 520 miles on a charge. Now that's great and everything, but imagine for a second if they did a single motor variant of that vehicle, still with the 4680 cells and the increased energy density, the increased manufacturing efficiencies involved with weight, structural battery pack and all that, but now with one motor, there's a lot less weight you're tugging around. Who knows? At this point, you could potentially start coming close to 600 miles of range on a model that would probably end up being around the price of the long-range Model S today, which starts at $80,000, but that's also with two motors. So I'm saying charge $80,000 but get a range well north of 500 miles. All right, the acceleration is not going to be as insane. Big whoop, 0 to 60 is only 5 seconds. Oh no, so slow. Truth is, I feel like Tesla is kind of spoiling and giving a lot of attention to performance junkies, people who love those 0 to 60 times, people who love those track times, because it is quite the flex, right? It is allowing for some bragging rights for the brand that people can say, yeah, my car's faster than a Lamborghini, or my car's faster than a Porsche, and that's only possible with an electric car, and that's possible with Teslas. But I think there's just as much flexing and bragging rights that can come along with range, even though most people are not buying the long-range Model S with a range over 400 miles, but in everyday conversations when people are talking about EVs, they can still say, yeah, they have some on the road today that can do 400 miles on a charge. It's a milestone. I know that it's just a number at the end of the day, and it may not make a huge difference between 350 and 400 on a road trip. It's only like 20 or 10 minutes difference, but just hitting these massive milestones and getting the advertised range higher, even if it's not the fastest vehicle in the lineup, I still think it would increase brand recognition if there were a lot of people out there knowing that, hey, did you know the Model 3 that goes 370 miles on a charge is under $50,000? And that's when people start thinking, man, 370, that's pretty close to how far my gas car goes. Or if you know there was one Tesla out there around $80,000, but it goes well north of 500 miles on a charge, that would, in my opinion, change the narrative quite a bit, to the point where people start to believe in the range improvements. People start to believe, okay, range is actually not as bad as I thought. The range on these vehicles are actually getting really, really good. And then they go on their website and decide what range and what trim and what price fits their needs best. But keep in mind, I'm not suggesting they make cheaper long-range rear-wheel drive vehicles. I'm saying make them the same price. That way you have a more profitable vehicle, and people out there who care more about range than performance have a great trim, have a great option for them. Not about taking away performance options. I'm not saying get rid of any dual motor variant. I'm just saying have both, even if they're the same price. It's in Tesla's best interest to have a more profitable vehicle with a longer range in the first place. So maybe if that sounds unreasonable, just make it like a grand or two cheaper. It doesn't have to be like a $5,000 decreased bracket. If people know they can just save a little bit of money and get more range, I think that will end up being a very tempting option for a lot of people in the market for EVs. And I hope Tesla doesn't forget about single motor variants and realize how influential and impactful they can be. Let's get those watt hours per mile as low as they can possibly get. Let's get some weight out of this thing that doesn't need to be there. At the end of the day, Tesla's mission is to accelerate our transition to sustainable energy, and making more energy efficient vehicles is a crucial part of that. And I think single motor variants would allow them to achieve that mission. What do you guys think? Feel free to let me know down below. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.